You have ideas flying around your head at light speed, but with little to no organization. They're going to say yes. So what we have to do is we have to force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output.
Hello, and welcome to The Jocelyn Moore Show. I'm your host, Jocelyn Moore, and as always, we're here to inform, inspire, and entertain with dynamic conversations that matter. Today, we explore Frontiers of Triumph, a mother's dyslexia journey with Russell Van Brocklen, a New York State Senate-funded dyslexia researcher. Welcome to the show, Russell.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, great. Let's get started, all right? You devoted so much of your work to helping kids with dyslexia. Please tell us what is the root of that commitment.
Well, real quick, I signed up for the Assembly internship program in the late 90s. I went in with a first grade reading and writing level. Because of that, they put me in Majority Leaders Program at Counsel's Office away from everybody, treated me like a grad student. They had 3 administrative assistants to help with my writing. That went great. I then did a presentation instead of a report, which was standard accommodation for me back then. They recommended 15 credits of A-. The political science department at the State University of New York Center at Buffalo didn't like the accommodations the New York State government came up with, so they gave me 15 credits of F instead. I went to law school to learn to read and write. Took a couple of years. And then from that, I had New York State fund me after a lot of additional years of background research to take a bunch of dyslexic high school juniors and seniors that were highly motivated, highly intelligent. They went from one class period a day for the school year. They increased from the middle school reading and writing level to average of entering graduate students. For less than $900, they all went out of college. They all graduated, GPAs of 2.5 to 3.6. The most effective economic dyslexia remediation ever. And that's how I got started.
Well, that's great. And all that confidence, what you did for the kids, all that confidence came back, right? And the parents were so happy. I know that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you legitimately tell them that their kids have the writing skills of a college graduate before they start.
Wow.
Yeah, that got an effect.
I have a 2-part question for you. When do parents and teachers know the signs of dyslexia?
Oh, well, you're going to notice that in kindergarten. Boys are very easy because they act out.
Cool.
Because you're asking them to do things. So just so your listeners understand, this is the top book on dyslexia, Overcoming Dyslexia by Sally Shaywitz, from Yale. This is the second edition, page number 78, figure number 23. Do you see how the back part of my brain has like virtually nothing going on and yours is going crazy with neural activity?
Yes.
Do you see how the front part of my brain's about 2.5 times overactive?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going on is, I'm oversimplifying really complicated neuroscience, but just so your audience has a general idea of what's going on. Kindergarten through high school, we're essentially in the back part of the brain. You're asking the boys and the girls who are dyslexic what to do things that their brain just, there's nothing going on back there. So they get really frustrated. Boys act out, so you notice. Girls tend to just take it and be quiet. You have to notice they're just not learning their alphabet. They're not learning the things they're supposed to learn to read and write at all. And that's your strong indication that they have that there's a problem.
That's very interesting. What is the most important first step a newly diagnosed parent should take for their child?
I'm going to break into 2 areas, kindergarten through 3rd grade, 4th and above. Why? Because at the end of 3rd grade, your kid's going to take a reading and writing test given by the state. Research shows because K through 3, we learn to read, 4th and above, we read to learn. If your kid passes the 3rd grade reading and writing test, they're generally going to be okay according to the statistics. If they fail, it's a 911 academic emergency. So if it's K through 3, I would just Google Yale dyslexia. It's the International Center for Dyslexia and Creativity. Just contact them, ask them, how do we get diagnosed for dyslexia? The teacher can do it. It's like, I don't know, $40, $50 or something like that. The school district can do this. And then they have all these programs on how to fix the problem. Research-based, $1 million a program, thoroughly vetted. Pick what you want. Just tell your school this is what they need to do. Once they're in fourth grade and above, then what you need to understand is things change drastically. I have been trying, the New York State government has been trying to get reforms into the school system. It's simply the wall of bureaucracy is something beyond anything I can even hope to fix. So what the simplest thing, and not to be sexist, but when Facebook used to tell us way too much about our consumers, I found that doing K through high school, it's 90% moms. And in my own experience, it's almost all moms. Dads don't generally get involved, mostly until college. So I'm just going to say this is generally a mom issue. It's easier just for you just to fix the problem yourself. What you need to focus on are 3 areas. Number 1, you have to focus on the kid's speciality, their area of extreme interest and ability. I'm just going to give you a quick example of, because everybody asked me for one. I met Kimberly and Reed last December 27th. Reed just got assessed by the state of Ohio. He was in the 11th percentile in reading, 4th percentile in writing, 5th grade, 10 years old. Kimberly's a homeschooling mom. I worked with her for half an hour a week. She spent an hour and a half with Reed a week. Most parents do 45 minutes to an hour, 15-minute sessions. All right. With her, 5.5 months later, Reed was reading at the 64th percentile, writing at the 65th. His friends wanted him in public school for social reasons. He's in public school now, in 6th grade, mainstream, getting A's and B's.
Go ahead.
Oh, so just how that was possible. So here's the model. You have to deal with what these kids are really interested in, their speciality. For Reed, it was Wolverine from X-Men. So we got graphic novels, which Kimberly pre-read. She had to approve everything, because you can get a little messy with these characters when you're dealing with a 10-year-old. So she pre-approved everything.
Right.
Then here's the key thing. You can't teach these kids from the big picture to something specific. All right? Here's why. If you ask a dyslexic, in your speciality, do you have ideas flying around your head at light speed, but with little to no organization? They're going to say yes. So what we have to do is we have to force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output. So how do we do that? We don't ask a specific to a general question. We ask a very specific question out to the general. Okay? So you might start off with, why does Wolverine want to recover his memories? And then Reed literally, he goes to his book, and I usually try to get a book and an audiobook, the same thing. So we can listen to it while reading along and trying to answer a specific question. That takes the chaos in his head and shrinks it down about 70, 80%. So I don't teach reading. I teach writing, because if you can write it, you can read it. But to write about it, you have to understand it, and it's going through listening to it, trying to follow along with your finger and trying to answer a specific question. You do all that, and as you keep going over a section of the book until he can literally read it after going over it literally dozens and dozens of times.
So I was just ask you a question. So you don't teach reading. It's like you say, they will have to actually see it, right? You take different parts at a time, because too much is, like you said, too much just gonna be too much for a child, for a person, period. Right.
Well, what I'm trying to do is to convert everything down into how can we get the most power out of each step.
Right.
So if you're going to write about something, there has to be an input.
Okay.
So reading, what I go about, it's just assumed. So what parents need to understand is that they need to focus on what the kid's really interested in. You need a book and an audio book that matches. And here's the key thing: the kid has to like the narrator. If they don't like the narrator, you got to get to a new book. No questions. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start off not from a general to a specific question, because the kid's front part of the brain is 2.5 times overactive. That's where we're trying to push things towards. All right. When you're doing that, it's just complete chaos. If you start off with a general, there's nothing to latch onto. So
Right.
again, you ask a dyslexic kid or ADD kid or ADHD kid, it's the same for all three. In your speciality, do you have ideas flying around your head at light speed? Key question with little to no organization. They're going to say yes. So we have to force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output. So what we do is, as your kid is going through that, you're going to ask, for example, I start off with, give me 10 things that the hero really, really likes and 10 things that the hero really, really dislikes. So as Reed was going through this, he's going through a section, and if there's not enough, I'll put him into the next section until he fills out all of that stuff. And then wherever he stops, I will have him keep going through that section, doing more advanced things. What does, as we go through the system, it's more like, what does Logan want to do? Okay. There's all of these more advanced tricks that I give. And as the kid's going through the material over and over and over again, I purposely have them on that material until they've gone through it so many times. And we're talking dozens and dozens and dozens of times, that the kid can finally start reading it with no assistance. So I start them off reading it out loud, following with their finger, listen to their audiobook, which they can control, and a lot of kids slow it down, and as they're going, and also trying to answer a specific question. As they get more evolved and they're running into some words that are just tricky, I will have them, if there's a word you keep getting stuck on, write it down. We're going to have them type, not handwrite, not iPad, not iPhone, always typing. They will look up the word on Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, type out the word, and type out the definition. And they'll keep doing that pass per pass until they know it.
You know what? I like the idea where you have the audio. You can follow along. You said you use your hand, and you really, I think, to me, for dyslexia, and sometimes kids who are not dyslexia, excuse me, I think that's very good for what you're doing. I think it can still help other kids also with your process. Probably can't wait to read it and enjoy it. So I really like that. What you're doing. Let's say for all kids, and parents should listen to you, even, like I said, even if you're not dyslexia. That can help a lot of kids.
How does this work with typical students? What you will find is they will race through this drastically faster. The dyslexic goes by far the deepest. ADD, ADHD will be in the middle of that.
What is the biggest myth about dyslexia that you want parents to stop believing? I know so much out there.
Well, again, I'm going back to the science. That's it.
Right?
That's the brain. Now, the practical end of things, again, the back part of the dyslexic brain has essentially almost nothing going on. Gen Ed is going crazy. The front part of the dyslexic brain is 2.5 times overactive. Here's what that means. The front part of the dyslexic brain is word analysis followed by articulation. What I like to call it is, imagine once your kids are writing basic sentences, I use a universal theme for word analysis. I have, what does the hero want to do? And then you come up with a sentence or a couple of sentences. You pick out the most important word there. And that's your base universal theme. But it's very broad. So then what you do is you put it into a thesaurus.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ask the kid, for each word, you're going to have to go through, write out the word, go to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, type out the definition. You cannot copy and paste, because otherwise it is completely a waste of time. You're getting nothing out of it.
Easy.
They actually have to type out the definition.
Great. That's good.
Okay. Now, I hear this all the time from parents. My kids won't do that. And I said, exactly, if you're outside the speciality. So when you're talking with Reed, inside the speciality, he does it. Outside the speciality, they don't. And Here's a little trick for parents. I always ask the kids, I start off with 10 things that they really like and 10 things they really dislike. The thing they dislike the most, then I tell the parents, okay, if they decide sometime they want to start acting like a kid and going, I'm not going to do it. Okay, fine. What you don't like to do, the worst thing, you're going to do that again and again until you decide to do your work. The kids tell me it's pure evil, but all the parents have to generally do is threaten it, and they do it. Like for Reed, it was cleaning out the rabbit cages. He hates doing, like, just can't stand it. So I said, Reed, this is great. You're not doing what your mom wants. So she's going to give you another week, and then you're going to be cleaning out the rabbit cages. And she stopped cleaning them out, so they're going to be really nasty. And she's going to video it, and I'm going to be laughing like crazy. I said, I'm going to look forward to this. Immediate compliance.
Oh, you just like, oh, children.
And if not, we get they force the kid to do it, and they videotape it. And we've been laughing at one kid. He's 25 now. We did that when he was 10. He's one of my first students. I worked with privately doing this, and we still laugh. He's like, it's not funny. We're like, for the rest, it really is. And he's 25 now, so we can joke about it. But so they do that, and then eventually, here's what happens. Most of the time, you're not going to get much pushback. You threaten that, they'll do it. They will go through each word so many times until they eventually know what the word is. They do this usually around 10 or 11. I do not do this before age 10. Okay?
Why not? Why not before age 10?
Because there's something that happens at age 10 when you can start giving well-raised kids adult responsibilities for limited things, and they will do it. Where they can't do it at 9. I don't understand the science behind it. I've looked into it generally, but there's just something happens at age 10 where kids become more mature in 5th grade.
You just know it works at age 10. Okay.
Yeah. Parents understand. Like, for example, I used to volunteer to professionally shoot the swim team. There was a 10-year-old girl that could get this 5-year-old girl to actually jump in, to do things that nobody else could do. And then she carried my cards back to her grandfather, who uploaded them. And she did it as well as any adult. And there's adults everywhere, so she's, of course, being supervised. But I'm just saying that starts happening at 9. She couldn't have done that.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I'm just saying, so at 10, you start doing this. So what's going to happen is they keep doing this. They're going to, and then you find the ultimate villain, the person or concept that prevents the hero from accomplishing their goal, and you put that into a sentence. Now, as you keep doing that, the kid's going to develop a vocabulary of hundreds of evolved words. It takes 6 months, a year, sometimes 18 months. This is the base to really jump them up reading-wise. But then the kids remember these words. It comes time for the SAT when they're 16. They don't have to remember all these definitions again because they already know them.
Because they've gone over and over again with them.
When they were
stuck
10.
in their brain. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They would literally remember 70 and 80% of that. So what you need to understand is when you're dealing with these kids is the front part of the brain you want to focus on, that word analysis. That's what I call it, picking out your universal theme, getting something that's much more specific that best matches what's in their head. That's the one you're looking for. And then you go because and you give reasons. That's articulation. Okay, you practice that and you try to take everything and you pull it forward to the front part of the brain. And it's just so much easier to learn. And you don't have to do this forever. Once you get the kids at grade level, Kimberly sent her son into public school, and she's now they have a family crisis, so she doesn't get to work with him much, reads on his own mostly, getting A's and B's, and he's just fine. She did every parent's dream. She solved this in 5.5 months. Took her about 36 hours.
Let me ask you this question. What about, like, I think we have some very good teachers in school, but they're not taught about dyslexia kids, And some people might feel like the teachers are failing. Is that what you call it, failing? Because they're not taught that. So
so it's an absolute mess. I have gone to school boards. I have gone to different I mean, literally, I have been asked for this. I taught the entire state of New Jersey how to do this. It was the New Jersey Association of Learning Consultants. It's chartered by the state in New Jersey in 1965. Their job is to diagnose dyslexia and recommend programs to fix it. I taught their entire association how to do this in 2022. They asked me to come and do this because of the pandemic writing problems. I've been teaching teachers in this New York City for the past decade at the Everyone Reading Conference. The problem that you run into is I'll just relay a conversation I just had at a school district. I'm speaking with the absolute higher ups, assistant superintendent for curriculum, head of special ed, head of student services. Oh, we have a committee we know we have an issue with this. They're working on it. They don't want any outside help.
Really?
Okay. Oh yeah. And this is a school district that I've worked with, 20 years ago for a major project.
Wait, before you go on, let me just say this too. I have interviewed teachers on here who have not dealt with dyslexia, and they would say, I'm sure you agree, you're talking about this now, that basically they have a certain, what you call it, number, or just that number. They have a certain level where they have to just pass the kids on. Okay, the kids might not be learning this, but from the higher up, we have to let the kids go anyway.
Yeah, so it's called social promotion.
Right, and that doesn't help the child at all.
Right, but
you have
the
worse
thing
problems.
The teachers, when I'm at Everyone Reading, they love the ideas. I just can't get it past the upper end of the middle, upper end of the administration, the middle end of the administration. It gets caught someplace. I have literally spoken to elected officials who have tried to arrange a serious meeting with me, with one of their schools. This is after, very powerful board members of a non-for-profit in the state are saying, how can this wealthy school district not keep doing this generation after generation? All right. We have tried every imaginable thing. I have even gone into these meetings with a member of the New York State Dyslexia Task Force, and it amounts to pretty much nothing.
But you know what? Let me interrupt. I just have to say this. Also, the teachers have said, and you know this too, that the higher ups know nothing about teaching.
Oh, no, not, I can tell you where
over their heads.
No, where I've run into this, they know. Well, I mean, I'm from New York State, and just so you know, we spend more per kid than anybody else.
Right.
So these are extremely highly paid, very competent professionals. I just get stuck if I'm talking to the higher ups. I get stuck at our writing committee doesn't want to hear from anybody else, or if I'm speaking with the teachers, I can't get it past the administration. What I've simply concluded is I said I've had enough of this. One of the parents I met on a podcast, she was a producer. Her name is Angela. She is a certified elementary school teacher. Taught for over a decade. Then when her daughter was born, she became a homeschooling mom. Her son, August, is 9. All right. She's going through these basic sentences that I was kind of describing. Because he's 9 and she's doing 15-minute sections, it's going to take her about 4 months to get through this. I'm having her put all of this material up on a learning platform called School. As a homeschooling mom, as a certified teacher, she's going to walk moms how to go through that. We'll meet parents once a week. Once it's up, and we'll be able to work with parents affordably directly. We're just going to bypass the schools.
That's what you have to do for the kids. That's what you have to do. That's why a lot of these kids, the teachers were saying, there's also the kids, 11th grade, because I did some subbing at schools, and I had the special ed. The kids, they're not dyslexia, but they still can't read.
And when you're dealing with the older kids, I'm going to give you what the solution is. All right. What we do is by the time we show them how to write a body paragraph at the elementary school level, they have to find a quote. No quote, no body paragraph. They do that. We show them how to come up with a reason for hero, universal theme, villain. Then we have a reason. We reduce that reason to a universal theme. That universal theme, they then find a quote. When we're dealing with 6th grade on up, we show them how to find 2 quotes. Those 2 quotes we use that to create a topic sentence. Then to connect the topic sentence with the 2 quotes, we use something called a warrant, which is essentially used at the PhD level. People with master's degrees don't know what it is. Essentially, what we do is we connect the topic sentence with the quotes by answering how and why in a analytical discussion framework. That's what a warrant is. That one connection with those 2 quotes, because they're based on the same universal theme, that moves their technical writing ability of a body paragraph beyond advanced placement high school English.
Oh,
Because
really?
they just use topic sentences and data. They don't use a warrant to connect because the teachers don't know what a warrant is. It's, again, a how and why, specifically how to connect those 2 together. So we show that to kids. They learn that by the end of 7th grade, and then their technical paragraphs are considered higher level than a lot of AP high school kids, AP English high school kids.
Actually, this then, from all this learning you work with the kids, like how many times a week do you wait to see results? I think you talked about that already. I mean, how much time a parent has to be with his child, let's say during the week? Like, is
Well,
it what, an hour or
no,
45
no.
minutes?
This is exactly what Angela is doing. She's a homeschooling mom, but most parents, the data shows, do 10 to 15-minute sessions. And yes, that's it. That's all parents do. They don't do hour sessions. So they do 10 to 15-minute sessions, and typically it's 3-4 times a week. Okay? Sometimes
Really?
more, sometimes less. Her numbers, now remember, August is 9, so he's going to move a lot slower than
Mm-hmm.
Reed. With my process, the older the kid is, the quicker they pick it up. She admitted that she has ignored read. She's been focusing on reading, ignored writing. August was writing randomly placed misspelled words. So she is going to be on this for about 4 months. She's on month 3 now. They're doing the 3 reason sentences. They're doing 1 every 15 minutes. She's going to lock that down. By the time she's done, it's going to be about 4 months. And in that time, you're going to see August increase by about a grade level, 2 grade levels in writing. But his reading is also improving because if you can write it, you can read it. Then she's going to go on to the next step. So
You
that's
know,
that's what you're looking at.
the way you talk, it doesn't take a long period of time at all. You have some parents today, kids are not dyslexia, who say, okay, you're going to stay here for an hour to learn this, to do this. And you saying just the opposite.
No, I'm just saying in the reality, if you look at any of the self-help book, when I read, because I'm writing a book on this with Evelyn Whitebay, who's on the Dyslexia
Okay.
Task Force as a teacher, the research is clear. Parents do 10 to 15 minutes. So I had to take something that my competition is a bachelor's degree, 2 full years, like a master's degree, and $11,000. I had to radically simplify this and drop it to 10 to 15-minute sessions. That's just and that took me, it took me 15 years to figure that out.
That's very good. Even for the child would like that. It's that long period,
Mm-hmm.
in that long period of time. I just wish that the school system was different.
Well, New York State just spent an entire year in a task force. They got a report. You just go to Google, New York State Dyslexia Task Force, New York State Education Department. They spent $1 million on this, whatever it was, the 100 top people in the state. And they can't get it into the school system, okay? The state
It can't.
legislature can't do it.
Why
It
can't they? I'm sorry.
came down to a cost perspective, and the teachers, because it's going to take so long to do this, like weeks and weeks of training, the teachers literally said, you dump so much stuff on us. We physically can't take weeks and weeks and weeks to learn this. And then the cost implementation would have been expensive. All right. I went into the schools and I say, well, I have a member of the state task force. There's like 4 teachers on it. Here's one of them. Okay. She's the expert for the region, and we can show you how to do this within 6 hours, one day. And I
Really?
can't get past the middle part. It's like there's always some teacher committee I can't get past if I'm starting off on top. And if I'm starting off on the bottom, I can't get past the middle or upper level management.
They won't just
And
let you do it.
it's just the level of bureaucracy that I'm looking at, and I'm volunteering to do this for no cost so they can see how it initially works. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to the parents and just saying, let's just do this together. We're bypassing the schools, and we're done.
What are they there for? Just, well, I hate to say it. I don't want to say
Well,
it. The higher ups, what are they? Well, okay.
they have all of this stuff flying around them. My issue is I'm not playing the bureaucratic game. I'm not coming in here
Right.
asking you to pay me $100,000, which some of my competition does for the larger, wealthier school districts. Like literally, they will spend $100,000 on Wilson reading for a lot of faculty, a week long of instruction. They spend money like that. I'm like, I'm not set up for that. I'm coming in out of courtesy to show you how to do this so your kids don't have to go through the hell that I went through. And I'm just at the point where I'm just like, forget it. I'm going to go right to the parents and say, moms, dads, you got to fix this yourself or it's not going to get fixed.
And it's a shame it's like that. You do what you have to do. You go to the parents. You
Yeah.
have to go to the parents,
Oh,
and it's, I will say this real quick. Do you agree with me when when the kids do not get the learning, and once a lot do not graduate from high school for one thing, right? And then they out there, they become problems for you and me.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, they
the
can't get a
prisons are
job.
overrun with dyslexics. It's predictable. A lot of these kids, um, especially when they're in areas where there's gang activity, and the school's just not working for them. Yeah, it's all of this is so completely predictable. That's why New York State has tried. They want to try to redo the K-5 elementary system. And they commissioned the most comprehensive latest study on what the best state of the art is. And even with the biggest, I mean, sorry, California, you think you're the highest tax state. I'm in New York. We beat you. Sorry. With everything we're spending, it's just it just doesn't work. And when I looked at that and said, okay, so I met with Evelyn, who was again on the dyslexia task force as a teacher. We came up with how we can go in and not take weeks and weeks and weeks. We can do this in 6 hours. And honestly, it's the same thing that I did for New Jersey in 2, which I thought was just way too. That's taking the kid from they can't write C-spot run all the way to a basic 5-paragraph essay. That was a tough thing to do in 2 hours. There's ways of fixing that. I literally spent 2 2-hour sessions at training the whole association, and I did it for free. They offered me what I assumed to be a good paycheck for it, but I didn't want to take money out of the things to help the kids. So I did it. So I did it for no cost. So I mean, just the frustration is the bureaucracy that you have to get through. I'm not set up for it. I'm not wasting any more time on it. If the schools are interested, I'll have people bring them to me. I'm going right to the parents. I go right to the tutors. I also train tutors. A lot of times
Right.
they're trained to bring these kids to solve their reading issue brilliantly. Wilson, Barton, Orton Gillingham, they're brilliant at that. The writing is where they don't know really what to do. And I can show them how to take these kids from, C-spot run all the way through senior year of college writing. And that allows them to take, they have families that they can afford their professional rates. The parents like each other. The adults like each other. The kid likes everybody. And now I show the tutors how they can get another 4 or 5 years with the kid. And it's easier.
But the thing is, it's a lot of politics involved.
Yes, well, I just bypass I just go to the
politics.
private sector and I wash my hands. I mean, I go to everyone reading every year. I explain it to the teachers. And And that's just convenient because I'm in Albany, New York. I take the train down. It's a major conference. It keeps me abreast of what's going on. But besides that, I just deal with the private sector now.
Well, projects. What projects are you working on? Are you doing any new research or what?
Well, I'm putting out a book that Evelyn and I are working on. It's called Dyslexia. It's called Literacy and Dyslexia Reading Turnaround. And it's about Kimberly's story with Reed. And that'll be out sometime in the next few months.
Oh,
It's about her hopes, dreams, failures, successes with Reed and what it was like for her to go through this journey. And it explains to parents how they can do the same and just solve it. And what we found is even if the parents went to fight the school district, they would spend less time just solving it themselves than what they would have to do just to try to get anything out of the district.
so your book would be on Amazon. Do you know
Oh,
where?
it'll be on Amazon exclusively.
It will be.
Well, here's a little secret. 80% of all books sold in the United States are on Amazon,
Amazon.
so we're just going there.
I go to Amazon for quite a bit. I know the parents would be so happy, and it's a shame that they can't go. I'm not trying to put the schools down, but the higher ups.
Well, no,
how I
it's
know.
the difference. It's the difference if the higher ups, I can't get through their teacher committees. And if I'm starting off with the teachers, I can't get through the higher ups. It's just simply the fact that I run a very small consulting company. There's just a couple of us, and we're not equipped. I'm not Barbara Wilson. I'm not Wilson Reading, who are
Right.
designed to deal with school districts. So my thing is I'm just bypassing it, and I'm just going right to the parents or right to the tutors that work with these kids and say, here's how you do it.
You go
And that's
further
it.
that way. You go further that way. I mean, you reach more people the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
You reach more
And
people.
I am never going to be one of those big, Wilson Reading's an $80 million, $100 million huge company, something like that. I don't know. It's huge. It's the biggest one out there. And I'm just, I don't want to do that. I want to work with kids and their families. I don't want to run a bureaucratic organization.
Well, Russ, I want to say thank you so much for your time, and I hope you bring the families everywhere. Thank you so much.
Thanks
you.
for having me.
For our viewers at home watching, if you like what you see, subscribe to the Jocelyn Moore Show. Want to be a guest on our show? Head over to our website, www.jmentertainment.info. On the home page, click on About and follow directions to be a guest. If you have any questions about today's show or past or future shows, just click Contact on our website and submit a message. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care and keep watching.